Chiefs win the Super Bowl.
Chiefs win. Cry, Eagles, cry.
Great, excited to be back in the league.
You know, every day I got the Three Stooges in the studio with me is a good fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
So let's make sure he gets that bag.
F-R-A-U-D-S, fries! Woo!
Justin's way ahead in picks. That's all that you need to fucking know.
Show's over.
Show's over. We're going home. I would like to welcome you back to another page of the Playbook Sports Podcast. 16 through 20.
Yeah, a little shock. No receivers taken in the top 15.
You know what though? I was just reading. I can't remember who tweeted it, but someone just tweeted that the media that is like the NFL media is way higher on these wide receivers than the NFL GMs actually are. Most GMs only have one receiver with a first round grade. Kind of surprising to me because there are a lot of talented receivers and a lot of receiver needy teams, which will push them up the draft.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of them only have JSN as the only first round receiver. Addison, you've been saying that for a while. I'm going to give you your props, brother.
I think it's just the speed aspect. That's what kills them from first round picks, or at least higher first round picks. Because it's like, can you do it all? Can you burn deep? Jamar Chase can pretty much do everything. So he's worth a pick. You know, Drake London can do it all. He's worth a pick. Are you drafting a guy in the top 15? When you're looking at Devin Witherspoon, that guy's best corner in the draft. And you can pair him up with Stingley in a situation for Texans. Obviously, it'd be cool to get your quarterback a receiver, but is it worth that high of capital when they don't have all the tools and can't go completely deep, absolute burner speed? Maybe not.
Yeah. And based off this draft, there might be a lot of guys there early second round to receiver.
Exactly.
You might just draft best available at 12, knowing that you have an early second that you can.
Yep, 100%.
All right, so 6.
Yeah, go ahead.
16, I have Washington kind of tweaking as well. Top 3 corners off the board. I have them maybe a reach, not really, bad combine. Brian Branch out of Alabama going here, 16 to Washington. Versatile DB, safety corner, going to Washington there. 17, I have the Packers are traded the Steelers to move back 2 spots. They take Michael Mayer, the best tight end in the class at 17. Go get a weapon, maybe not a receiver weapon, but go get a tight end since Big Bob Tonyan's gone. To replace him. 18, I have another trade here. I have Seattle moving up from 20 to 18 with Detroit. Flip-flop in 2 spots. Seattle moves up ahead of where I have Philadelphia, who moved back. Philly's at 19 in my draft right now. Seattle moves ahead of Philly, gets a defensive tackle, Brian Breezy out of Clemson. I don't know if Philly would double up on D tackle since they took a first rounder last year, but they might because they do love their linemen. So taken Brian Breezy from the Lions at 18. I just flip-flopped the first rounders and then threw in a next year's third rounder from Seattle. Little spots there. Philly at 19 with their trade back from Tampa Bay. They take Bijan Robinson at 19. Nice little move back 9 spots, get a future first and fourth, and get maybe the guy they would have taken at 10, maybe also a top 3 player in the draft at 19. And then 20, they moved back 2 spots, get Deontay Banks, cornerback out of Maryland, pair him up with Jalen Carter. That's the 2 Lions first-round picks this year.
I love those picks.
Yeah.
Brian Branch, I really like that. He played a lot of his snaps in the slot. He's a safety slot. He's just a defensive back. You just put him out there, he'll figure it out.
And I think Combine, this is where, winner, loser of the Combine, I think maybe a little overhyped. Had a bad combine, but hey, he's a great player on the field. And what matters more when you're in a gym? When you're in a stadium with no fans doing drills, or when it's third down, you got to make a stop. You know what I mean? And the guy's done it. He doesn't miss tackles. You know what I mean? Like he had 4 for his whole career, I'm pretty sure, and he was a starter literally day 1 at Bama. So
honestly,
he's getting starter reps, and it's like the guy obviously makes plays. Combine maybe a little bit too much. I don't think he falls that far from an iffy combine.
Yeah, I think Brian Branch might be the call there, even if Joey Porter's there, just because of what he does in the slot. Look at the slot receivers they have to go against in that division.
Yeah, for real.
Filled with them. They need someone to take them out. CD Lamb's playing mostly in the slot anyways.
Yeah.
And then the Giants can only pass to the slot, apparently.
And then
Devontae Smith, one of them's always in the slot. So
good luck.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick by Washington. Love Green Bay getting Mayer there at 17, best tight end. I think we're just getting a little bit of prospect fatigue on him, which is why we've seen these other tight ends raise above him. At the end of the day, Mayer is the best tight end in this class, in my personal opinion. And after losing Big Bob Tonyan to Chicago, you bring in another guy, plug and play, day one starting tight end for Jordan Love, kind of a safety blanket. Brian Brzee has been falling down people's draft boards, man. And I just watched the tape from not this past season, but the season before. And I'm like, God, this guy is good. We're sleeping on this guy. He's going to fall to some lucky team's lap, man. And Seattle comes out of this draft with Tyree Wilson and Brian Brzee. All right, your defensive line set. We can forget.
Yeah, they're monsters too. Yeah, both monsters.
Just a couple of freaks. And
He
then
ran all over last year. Not anymore with that line.
No. I think Bijan Robinson at 19 to Philadelphia is my favorite pick so far of your whole draft. That's a slam dunk home run pick for Philadelphia. That is A+, man. They are just, the rich just get richer, and they pick up another first rounder next year from Tampa Bay, who could suck. Tampa Bay could be terrible. And then they just pick up another first rounder and they say, we just do it again. We just do it again.
That's just how they go. That's how they work.
It's a well-run organization.
I don't know how they do it, but they do it.
I love that one. And then Deontay Banks, man, I like him a lot as a corner. He's pretty slender. If I'm thinking of the right one, right? Deontay Banks Deontay Banks.
Are you thinking of the guy from Florida State? I think maybe Emmanuel.
Mississippi State. Am I thinking of Emmanuel Mobley or whatever his last name is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a playmaker, but the guy is like $170. It's like
thin.
obviously heavier than that.
All of these corners are small. Like the corners and the receivers are kind of pushing the like expectations from these positions. They're all smaller people this year. But I love those 5 picks. I think those address team needs for everybody. I love Seattle doubling up on the defensive line. That just feels right.
That's a monster play for Green Bay with what if they can pull that off. It's a home run of a draft so far, A+ first round. I mean, if they had one pick at 15, I'm on the side where maybe they're leaning Meyer, or I would be if I was them in general, and to be able to get Murphy and Meyer is still off of a trade back, that'd be home run.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so they've got Deontay Banks listed. He's actually one of the bigger ones, 6 foot, 197. That's solid. That's plenty of good size right there, man.
4.35, 40, 42 inch.
First place in combine, for number 1 ranked corner from the combine. Athleticism score was a 98 out of 100. Yeah, 4.35, 42 inch vert. Oh yeah, great pick. Oh my God, Detroit crushing the draft also, man. Detroit and Seattle just crushing this draft.
And Green Bay.
That's how my teams do.
Green Bay, I agree. Okay. All right, keep it rolling, brother. Pick number 21 through 25. What you got?
So 21, I just wrote down LOL.
You're dick. Screw you, Brian Flores. Screw you, Goodell. I can't wait to boo Goodell at the draft. He is going to remember me. I will make sure of it.
Shout out Belichick.
Yeah.
He knew that shit on purpose. Senile old man.
Oh, sorry, wrong Brian.
Oh, my bad, dude. My bad.
All right, so the real 21st pick of the draft, first receiver board to the Chargers, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Holy shit. Offense and Kellen Moore would be licking their chops. Probably doesn't fall this far, but just the sake of this draft, I had receiver going kind of low. I'm not that high on receivers. I don't think if Houston takes one at 12, I seriously think the next few teams might just let them slip as well, just based off team needs. Smith and Jigba going to the Chargers at 21. 22, Jordan Addison joins Odell Beckham in Baltimore. Odell is only on a 1-year deal. Go get a route, probably the best route runner in the draft, arguably. Outstanding player, Jordan Addison, going to Baltimore.
Yep.
23, I have Minnesota taking Nolan Smith, edge out of Georgia. I think they have to go defense based off what they haven't done this offseason. And I'm a big D-line guy, apparently. In here as well. Jacksonville, I have them taking Cam Smith, corner from South Carolina. You look at their offense, it's pretty loaded. So they just need defense, in my opinion, at the end of the day. And corner is a position they really need specifically on the defense. And then 25, I have the Giants taking Quentin Johnson, wide receiver, TCU.
I love that. TCU, man. So you got someone sliding that I expected to hear their name called at Minnesota's pick. I guess there were a couple. Who knows what Minnesota's going to do, man? I like Nolan Smith, combine warrior, absolutely crushed the combine. And it's easy for these Georgia defenders to get lost in the shuffle, but these guys would all be day one great starters on any other college team. It just so happens that they play on the best defense in college football. I thought you were going to put Lucas Van Ness to one of those teams in there, kind of slipping on your board a little bit. I like it. He is so.
I went back and forth with him.
He's like all over people's draft boards. I see him as high as 7 to the Raiders.
Yeah.
And then I see him in the second round. Who knows
Yeah.
where he's going to go? But I love Nolan Smith. I like the athlete there. Chargers getting Jackson Smith and Jigba is terrifying for. I mean, it's just this is such an offensive driven league right now. It's crazy, man. Covering JSN, Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams.
And Keenan Allen, obviously, eventually on the way out. And here's a
Right.
guy that can just make you forget
Similar.
about him real quick. Yeah.
Similar player. Jordan Addison to the Ravens. Sage, take it away. I'm gonna let you talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, part of me was like, right when I heard it, I was like, I don't know about that. But then you bring up the fact Odell has a kind of a monster deal for what he's probably not worth. We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
But it's a 1-year deal. There's someone he can learn from in OBJ. And when I think about OBJ, Rashad Bateman, and Jordan Addison, that's the best wide receiver core the Ravens might have ever had.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
So when I think about that, my mouth starts watering. So no, that gets me hyped. That gets me excited. I'm way more for a wide receiver that can run a route than someone that can run past you. And that's Jordan Addison's bread and butter right there. So give him to me.
Yeah, I love that pick for them. I mean, at that point, you're just like, all right, Lamar, we're sorry. We've screwed up. Listen, please come back. Look at all these beautiful, shiny weapons. They just open up a little crate and it just starts singing out music.
Yeah.
It's Odell, Addison, and Bateman. I mean, that's a great 3 receivers for them. And Mark Andrews. Come on.
Yeah.
Right. And
Just pay him his money, Sage. This is your fault. Pay him his money.
Oh yeah, let me open up my wallet.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got the bag.
It might bounce, but just write the check.
I'm just waiting for like Sage's window blinds up a little bit for a face just to show up right there.
Yep. Right there. It's
Oh,
Lamar
yeah.
looking for that money.
It's just Lamar. Yeah.
Lamar's like, hey man, you writing that check or what? Cam Smith to Jacksonville, definitely need a corner. I don't know if you guys watched my regrading of the 2020 NFL draft, but they had CJ Henderson and then shipped him out after that year. Like they need to figure out corner really badly. Yeah. And all the offensive tackles are off the board. You know, they just lost Jawan Taylor, but Darnell Wright's gone. Like at this point, you're looking at the 5th offensive tackle already. The value of Cam Smith, I think, is better than the next offensive tackle, be it, DeJuan Jones or Cody Mock, who's more of a guard. So I like Cam Smith a lot. And then I love Quentin Johnson to the Giants. They have to get a weapon. Have to get a weapon.
I think that'd be a monster pick too for them. Somebody that can go deep, big receiver, big time plays, pair up with Darren Waller as well. Saquon coming back. I think that'd be big. I think they're going to attack receiver there just because it's sort of a need as well as it fits a role. And there's going to be potentially, are they the best person remaining? Maybe. And I love Quentin Johnson to New York. That'd be fire.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick, my friend. All right, bring us home. 26 to 31.
All right, 26. I have the Dallas Cowboys taking Osiris Torrance.
Yes.
Beautiful.
I've gone back and forth on tight end or guard or D tackle or this or that. And I just think offensive line at the end of the day, as a theme you've seen through this draft, I'm big on my O lineman. You got to get the hogs up front.
Yep.
So I have them taking him. And this is where I might lose you guys. This might be my most questionable pick of the first round to Buffalo, and I'm A-okay with it. I really wanted to go Jahmyr Gibbs here, but I didn't.
Okay.
They just got Damian Harris, so I think they're trying to make James Cook kind of the feature, scat back, and then then Damian Harris the power back. So I put O lineman, kind of a stretch maybe for late first round, but Anton Harrison out of Oklahoma. I do think Buffalo does need to shore up their O line. Josh Allen, you talk about how many hits he's taken over the last 3 seasons. I think it's most of the NFL by a couple of hundred even.
Yeah.
So he's got to shore him up front a little bit. I have Cincinnati going Dalton Kincaid. I think they go tight end. We've talked about Hayden Hurst leaving. So they have to shore that up somehow and keep that offense as potent as they can. And I think he's in second best one in the class. I have New Orleans taking Lucas Van Ness. That's as far as he slides to 30 New Orleans to replace Marcus Davenport, who they just let go, get another edge there. Never a bad idea. And this is probably my second most questionable pick of the first round, but it's going to Philadelphia, so I'm okay with it. You talk about shoring up their defense just the slightest bit, going Bijan with their first pick. Give me Trenton Simpson here. Line Clemson. I said it all last year. I think the weakest part of their defense was their linebacking core, and I'd argue this is probably the best pure linebacker because I don't count a lot of these edge rushers as linebacker like hybrids. I think this linebacker in the class. Trenton Simpson going to Philly, and then I have Zay Flowers going last to Kansas City at the end of the first. The receiver.
They think of Zay.
I went back and forth a lot. And I think they are just emphatically, aroused by these little speedster guys who can do these little choice and option routes underneath.
They're trying to rebuild what they had.
Yeah.
Because he does give those little glimpses of Tyreek, just the slightest bit. But I have them going Zay Flowers to end my first round.
Okay. I love O'Cyrus Torrence to Dallas. He makes perfect sense for them. The best guard in the class falls right into Dallas's lap. That's fantastic news for them. They need that offensive lineman, and all the tackles for the most part, like the top end tackles, are off the board. All right, let's get the best guard in the class in O'Cyrus Torrence. That's fantastic. I don't mind Anton Harrison to Buffalo. I really don't. If you need a tackle, you do what you got to do to get a tackle. Just as the Patriots last year. What was the name of the guy they drafted? Cole Strange. No one had him on the board in the first round, but they needed offensive line, and they're like, that's our guy. We got to do what we got to do. I don't think that pick has worked out for them.
Granted, they could have gotten him 60 picks later.
Definitely. Right. But you make the move for need at this point in the draft. This is you're already, if you're drafting this low, you've got a good team. So what do I need to plug in and play? Kincaid to Cincinnati is terrifying for everybody else in the AFC. Love that pick a lot. Dalton Kincaid's a monster. A lot of people have him as the best tight end in the class, man. He's so good.
Doing research on Kincaid, do you know his backstory a little bit? So he played 1 year of high school football, and then he won an AAU national championship in basketball. So he was a big basketball guy, not a big football guy. Played 1 year of high school 1 year of high school football. Signed a non-scholarship FCS scholarship to play at San Diego. Started 3 games, scored 11 tuds in the 1 year he was there. Got offered a full ride by Utah, and then went brazy. And now he's gonna be a first-round pick. So 1 year of high school football, and then signing on to an FCS school, and then transfer.
And a basketball guy making the move over.
He's gonna be a Hall of Famer. Next Tony Gonzalez, Jimmy Graham,
Tony Gage, Jimmy Graham, all these guys, man. Basketball backgrounds.
If you look at the way he runs the most similarly to Travis Kelce in a way that he gets open.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes from that basketball background. So
and he's a big boy, man. 6'4", 246 pounds with long arms. What a stud. I mean,
don't expect him to block much, though. Don't expect him to block much.
No, he'll be. I feel like Travis Kelce is a fair, albeit probably unattainable thing to compare him to, but style. Like,
obviously, it's crazy. I think honestly, his closest comparison besides Kelce might be Hayden Hurst, the guy they're losing.
Yeah, I like that.
Be better than him.
I love Van Ness to New Orleans. Just a plug and play starter on that defensive line. They have holes everywhere. And they just let Marcus Davenport walk, even though Davenport signed a stupid cheap deal. Like, I don't know. I mean, they're in cap hell. They've just got to get best player available, and Van Ness at 29 is fantastic value for them.
They love DNs in New Orleans.
They do.
Love them.
They do. Ohio State wide receivers and defensive ends. That's all they want. That's it. That's all they need.
Yeah. And Minnesota taking Van Ness and Nolan Smith going to New Orleans, I probably wouldn't argue that. I think those two guys probably flip-flop there, unless they obviously go elsewhere. But I could see flipping there.
Both just athletic freaks.
Yeah, I agree. Trenton Simpson at 30 to Philly is great for them. They need it for sure. Linebacker, like you said, probably the weakest spot. They trade down. So instead of taking like Devin Witherspoon at 10, they cut bait on that, get Bijan at 19, which is the best value pick ever. And then they get a starting middle linebacker in Trenton Simpson. The guy's all over the place. I'm pretty sure he had a pretty good combine too. I'd have to look more into it before I said something stupid, but he's a great pick for them. Best middle linebacker in the class, in my opinion. He's only 21 years old, which is, you want those young guys to continue to grow. Let me see. I'm pulling up his combine stats really fast here, so I'm kind of rambling. 4.4340. That's fantastic. With 25 reps on the bench, man.
That's sideline to sideline speed, and he doesn't miss tackles either. Like, he's a sure-handed tackler.
Talk about no character issues either. His dad did 17 tours overseas with the Rangers.
Oh, nice.
As disciplined probably as they come as well.
Yeah.
And I contemplated it several times. Witherspoon at 10 and like a Jahmyr Gibbs at 30. Like that'd be a draft as well for Philly.
Yeah, it would.
But I didn't go that route, thankfully.
I love that pick even more now that Sean Desai is going to be that DC over there. He worked with some good defensive players, especially when he was in Chicago. Granted, he didn't have the best reputation over there after he was only there for 1 year, I believe.
Yeah, 1 year. Yeah.
But regardless, he knows how to work with talent.
Yeah, he got the raw end of the deal too, though. I mean, taking over for Vic, and it was the end of everybody's prime, really, and everyone's older. Lose pieces in the secondary. Hey, we're throwing guys out that have pretty much no experience. Go do something with them. And
I
it's
think
like,
was he the DC for Roquan's best year too? Wasn't he?
I think so. Yeah, definitely for Roquan statistic wise. Yeah, no, he's I mean, he has got a good scheme. It's just he needs the players to do it. But if he has them, he definitely can do. I mean, we were blowing secondary like coverages, and it's like Eddie Jackson's also blowing them and stuff. It's like that's tough, man. You know, your vets even blowing stuff. That's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Zay Flowers to bring it all home. I love that. Great pick for the Chiefs. They need a weapon on the outside, which we'll talk more about in our next segment a little bit here. But yeah, obviously they got it done with the makeshift receiver core they had. They made it happen. Kadarius Toney is back. Boo Boo's gone, but they do have MVS still. And I think Zay Flowers would fit right in there, man. A core of Flowers and Sky Moore. And then you add in MVS and Kadarius Toney. I mean, that's a solid room of wide receivers. All of them can outrun you. They are all fast.
Yep.
I love that wide receiver room. That's a scary wide receiver room for the best team in the league.
I'll say, and it's Mahomes throwing too. So just
Right.
make the receivers even better. You know what I
Right.
mean? Even if they're bad, they're just better.
Yeah, I agree.
Just
The
have
only-
4 option routes at the top of the route, and then they're just too quick and too shifty.
And then there's
Yeah.
also Kelsey, and then it's also at our run game too. And our little checkdowns. Come on.
Oh, Andy Reid calling the plays and dialing it all up.
Oh yeah, that's it. It's only Andy Reid.
They're not fair. They're not fair, man. It's just the Chiefs world. We're just all living in it right
I
now.
mean, at what point, when does the streak end of AFC Championship games? Like,
I don't
I
know.
don't see it in
Not this
sight.
year.
Like, are we talking
I
another
almost
5,
guarantee not this year.
10 straight? Like, we'll see.
Yeah, they're just so damn good,
Not
man.
until that defense also falls apart too. But their defense even somehow they just keep rebuild. I don't even know what the fuck.
No, it's just insane. I mean, they play rookies in the secondary, doesn't come back to bite them. And
They're just all going to be better next year. They're all going to be better next year.
We'll see what happens when Chris Jones is gone. That's the real. Can they find another Chris Jones? We'll
True.
see. Probably
He's tough to replace.
Probably.
They probably can, knowing them. But I love it. Honestly, big fan of that first round. I like that you didn't go with all of this Hendon Hooker hype and you just let him fall out of the first round. I think that is what happens. I don't think Hendon Hooker goes in the first round personally. That's just me.
Mhm.
Hendon Hooker's so polarized. I've seen him go as high as 4.
Yeah, that Mike Tannenbaum's bum ass had him go at 5 to Seattle.
Yeah.
I saw that, and I'm flaming Tannenbaum as well. But then you hear reports where it's like some of these GM, it's almost half the GMs in the league apparently have him rated as the 3rd quarterback. It goes obviously Stroud Young, and then Richardson Levis, but Hooker's right there in GM's eyes.
Man.
He's old. He's older. I mean, 25, going to be entering. I mean, he's going to be 26 pretty much when he's done with his rookie year. But as much as does that matter though now? Because if he could come in and be great for 8 to 10 years,
Right.
I mean,
There's-
that's still a dub. Still a dub.
Anything's possible. I mean, I saw Brandon Whedon get drafted at 28.
Yeah, I know. See, but then it's like you look at the past and it's like, damn, Brandon Whedon really is the last guy that had this age. And you thought maybe he can come in, be a guy that is experienced. Don't be wrong. He went to Cleveland and that's just good luck. So
Right. Didn't stand a
but
chance.
Still, it's like, we'll see.
Yeah. Colin, strong work. I'm putting this one, I'm saving it. It's coming with us to the draft. I can't wait to watch. I mean, nobody gets 31 of 31, 32 of 32 typically.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. Like, I'd be happy getting 10 to 15 picks
Oh,
right.
yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Oh, God.
Be
yeah.
happy with that. I mean,
Right.
I bet if you put, I'd be happy getting 5 right. If you put 10 people in a room right now,
Yeah.
I bet you half of them have Young going 1, half of them have Stroud going 1. And then what happens at 2? It's just, and it depends on how all of these GMs view their board.
I think as well, mate. You did your mock a while ago too, so much has gone on, transpired since then as well. So it's like, well, I mean, things change.
Yeah, I mean, same with yours, Addis. I mean, yours was our first one we did, like our first individual one. You had Levis at 1, and he's just
It's like
falling down boards.
exactly.
Like at that point in time, that was a
Quarterback.
totally reasonable pick at number 1 to the Colts, and he's just falling down boards.
Part of my preparation for this is I opened an Excel sheet last night before I went to bed, and I actually listened to every single mock draft we had.
I love that.
Excel sheet of what you took, Nate, what you took, Addison, what you took, Sage, what we took, and the one that we went like every other pick. And I was all right. This kind of gives me like a general idea. But more different can I make mine than like these guys?
I love that.
So-
Speaking of that big mock draft that we did, we're definitely doing another one. I want to do that the week before the draft, where we go we all get picks. We're just gonna go in order. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And we just make our picks based on how it is. We can offer trades if we want to, however we want to do it. But I mean, I figure we get one more big mock out before the actual draft hits us in about 2.5 weeks.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
When Bob's joining us on the pod? We
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah, he'll be in there on Sunday. If we want to do the full one, if we want to do 5 guys and just do a full one, I know Bob's doing the research right now, so I'm down with doing all of Bob's, and then we all do a mock too. Just make it mock draft Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Draft guy.
What'd you say?
Like Bob, big mock draft guy.
Huge. He does them at home by himself. Doesn't show them to anybody.
Yeah.
He
We're
paid-
on Bob's 7th mock. Yeah.
Is for the mock draft tracker or whatever it is where you fill out your mock draft and they grade it. Bob definitely paid by subscription.
Oh yeah.
Very-
Absolutely. But nice job, Colin. I like it. It's gonna be a fun draft, man. Crazy stuff is gonna happen in this draft. I can just feel it. It's gonna be nuts.